No, I am a Ram fan. But listen, unless McVay puts a 40 burger and holds these guys to double digits, like 10 or 11 points, I'm still going to speak the truth. I'm going to say I have some doubts about this team. This is why I didn't want to go with you to Carolina. All right, dude, listen to me. Listen to me. You got to produce, all right? You got to produce, and maybe I'll fly with you to Philly, okay? All right, or I'll sit in the box with you in Frisco. But you got to produce, man. You can't just keep bugging me, right? I'm not your good luck charm. I just got to tell you what it is, and I'm not a fanboy. All right. Gosh, dude, I got to go. Got to go. Talk to you later. Bye. Cronky, that guy. This is RamView.
It's hot out there, but let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Headline, Los Angeles.
Live from the Ram Cave, I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView, the January 10th, 2025 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident. Do you need help? Do you have questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's one word. Check out the QR code behind me, KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. And of course, by Sports Ball Games. Sports Ball, make the Super Bowl more fun, more social, and wager-free. Sports Ball Games. Play it today. Look at our new slide there with Sports Ball as our friendship grows. Be sure to check that out, and we'll talk more about it when we get to the mid part of the show. But Sports Ball is a lot of fun. A lot of people like doing what their friends do. They just don't want to bet, right? They don't want to get crazy. Sports Ball Games is something to check out. You got the website right there with you. Also, game day in the Ram Cave. As long as the Packers are alive, my vision holds true. So we are looking forward to that one. And I just want to remind everybody that I have always been an Indiana fan. There we go. Okay. Let's look at this a little bit. A lot to talk about. Sorry I couldn't be on for a full show yesterday. I'm in now and the sunlight's coming through, and maybe that's just a good sign for the Rams, right? It is game day. Yeah, it is game day. Payo time. Happy playoff game day. Should we exchange gifts or something on game day like this when it's the playoffs? It's a bit everybody is so positive, and I'm positive too, but I'm just, like I was telling my friend Stan, I'm not completely sold. I want to see something good happen first. If the Rams put a 40 burger up and hold them to 12 or 14, then all my faith is restored. But this team just swings too far, right? And that's the part that makes me completely unsure. Tribe, why don't they move McClendon to guard and Havs back to right tackle? Don't like Diedick at all. McClendon's a tackle. That's just what he is, and he's excelling right there. And you can find ways to kind of work around your guard. But this is just where the Rams are at. Again, I don't like it because he's lined up next to Coleman Shelton, right? Coleman Shelton probably gets away with murder because he's sandwiched between Avila and Dotson. But he's a UDFA. If you're asking Diedick to play more than 2 or 3 games, he's been yeoman. And again, the one thing I will say is ignore the PFF numbers. Just ignore them. You can tell with your own eyes when he's good, when he's bad. But even when somebody is solid, PFF will come up with some stupid reason to grade them in a ridiculous manner. Is he optimal? No, he's not what I want, but he's functional. He is functional to a degree. And the Rams and McVay, no, they got to be more creative about it. Maybe that 13 personnel more of the time would maybe throw that Carolina defense off. It's an opportunistic defense. I don't think it's a great defense, but it is opportunistic. And then Mike Gutierrez, today is the day Justin Diedick needs to have his best game in horns. This is the moneymaker, right? This is the moneymaker. Everyone slams the Joe Noteboom extension. What was that, 3 years, $48 million, I think it was. and then he reworked it. But do you remember what that was coming off of? He had, not only did he have Whitworth's endorsement, but up until the Super Bowl, it was I don't know, did Whitworth come back for the NFC Championship game? But those first couple games in the playoffs, particularly in Tampa Bay, Joe Noteboom was fantastic, right? And he got that contract because of that. I think physically he had the ability to be that starting left tackle. Then he couldn't stay healthy and everything. But you look at Diedick, he's not going to get that kind of money. But it is the opportunity for a second contract, Micah. You are absolutely 100% right on that. All right, rain and thunderstorms, they're talking about it, and I think one of you guys suggested it the other day. If it's rain and thunderstorms, then 13 personnel, right? Our quarterback made a living in the NFC North for 12 seasons. So he has experience going to places where the weather's horrible, like Chicago, Green Bay. He played 13 yards away from going to the Super Bowl last year. And I will say that even though that was divisional, we would have beat the Taxkins at SoFi. This guy knows how to play in weather. So I'm not worried about that at all. I think the Rams offensively have an advantage. The weak link there is the Justin Diedick thing, but you can work around those things. You can do things differently. But they're going to have real matchup problems. Davante Adams is eager, hungry, and healthy. Puka, amazingly, has made it through 17 games this year healthy. I'm sure he's got his nicks and bruises, but he's on the field. And now you got full complement of your tight ends. You got Corum, you got Kyron. So there's a lot going on here that the Carolina Panthers are going to have to deal with, and that's why I'm sure everyone is thinking blowout, 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 because the loss in week 13 was a bit of a fluke, and we know we've covered all that. But here's what my mind keeps going back to, speaking of the tight ends, is Terrence Ferguson. And I know they held him out last week, and I know he's still a rookie, but he does have Stafford's confidence. Stafford will go to him. And while we know what everyone else can do on offense, Terrence Ferguson, this guy is 6'5", 255. That's a matchup nightmare. And when you think about this, he's played 172 snaps along the line of scrimmage in traditional tight end role, right? But he's also lined up 175 times, 94 in the slot, 81 out wide in snaps going upfield. So think about this. You're flooding that zone. You're going into that Carolina secondary, not only with the threat of a really, let's say, good run game. I'm not going to say great, but a really good run game. And that's because Kevin Dotson's not playing. But now you're sending out Davante Adams. Now you're sending out Puka Nacua and maybe Tyler Higbee on some other route. And now you got Terrence Ferguson. That's a matchup nightmare. I know they talk about the Rams corners matching up against the Panthers corners, but that's a difficult thing. And if we get into a shootout, I like our chances better than theirs. As always, the key thing, don't turn the ball over, yada yada. But also, you just got to knock the quarterback down. I'm not concerned about sacks. I'm just concerned with knocking and hitting the quarterback. If Young is clean, he's going to eat you up. If Kyler Murray is clean, he's going to eat you up. Any quarterback in the end, Mark Wilson probably would eat you up if he's clean. But you got to knock these guys down. And, I'm still going back, living off that Falcon game when it mattered, and we couldn't get a hand on Kirk Cousins. Now, someone will say the Falcon line is pretty good. Well, I would argue our front seven is supposed to be elite. So there's the issue right there. Finishing and beating the snot out of Bryce Young, and this game is a wrap. We saw what we did against the Tampa Bay defense, right? And we saw what the Tampa Bay defense did against Carolina. So this game should be a 40-burger. I agree with everybody what they're saying. I'm not going to badmouth anybody for what they're saying. It's just, man, don't you want to see it? Don't you just want to see it all come together for 4 quarters? Don't you just want to see the Rams be angry? And if they're not going to be angry, if they're going to be passive, then get somebody who is angry. Get somebody, football's a violent game. It's hard to be violent when you're not angry, right? Unless you're some kind of stone cold serial killer, right? But you got to have some energy here, and we need someone more afraid of a teammate letting a teammate down than the Carolina Panthers. And so that's where I lean on this one. Let's see. Boom. USA Expat, my man. What do we got here? Sadly, every ugly loss still transports me back to the dark Fisher days. Saved me with a huge margin of victory today. And it very well could be. I'm going to give my prediction right now. I like the Rams 27-10. I could see it being a little bit close, 20-10, and then Rams getting a late score or something. But I'm going to go Rams 27-10 because logic tells you look at this. That was a fluke in Week 13. Rams are a superior team, superior coach, superior personnel, definitely a superior quarterback, and they've got the chip on their shoulder, right? So yeah, I don't think they're going to let something like their right guard not starting prevent them from this the first stop on the revenge tour, right? And it starts in Carolina. Get payback for that loss in Week 13, and then let's get the 49ers at home. I'm rooting for the 49ers tomorrow. I want them to win in Philly. I don't think they're going to, but I am going to be rooting for them. I might even put a 49er tie on just to give them a little bit of mojo. I want them at SoFi, and I want the snot beat out of them at SoFi as payback, right? Redemption tour stop too, right? And then if we have to go to Seattle, we go to Seattle, right? And if it ends up Green Bay, ends up coming to LA, then awesome. We play Green Bay. We win against Green Bay for the first time in a decade and almost a decade, and I get to sell a lot of books. So I got my thing all figured out. There we go. The Panthers struggles. It's a Panthers struggle versus tight ends, so it would be a game for 13 personnel all day long. Let's get one TD per tight end. Yeah, I'm all for it. And again, that 13 personnel, man, allows you to pound the ball, may compensate for the lightness of Diedick and Coleman Shelton. I want to see a little more red meat out of Steve Avila. I want a little more Dennis Hara out of Steve Avila, right? I want to see a little more quickness, sharpness. I don't think I've ever seen the Steve Avila since 2023 that we had this year, right? The 2023 Steve Avila seemed to plow the road just a little bit better, seemed a little bit quicker. Let's see. Here. Boom. Neil Gonzalez. Let's go Rams. I'm there with you, man. USA Expat. Let's not underestimate playoff experience. That's what would make this a tragic defeat, because in the sense that the 1999 Rams didn't pay any dues other than surviving Georgia, surviving a lost decade, and then they caught fire, right? I guess you could say they overcame Trent Green getting hurt and such, but this Ram team would definitely take on a 70s feel. Now, we got the Super Bowl in our back pocket, right? But in the 70s, man, it was one disappointment after the other. You know, the Cowboys in 73, the Vikings in 74, Cowboys in 75, Vikings in 76, Vikings in 77, Cowboys in 78. It makes you puke when you think about it, right? It makes you puke when you think about it. And we go back to 23, a kicker and just maybe one little more edge rusher, and we would have won in Detroit. And Frisco struggled that year. They nearly lost to the Packers at home, and they nearly lost to the Lions at home. An experienced Ram team wouldn't have lost to Frisco in Levi in 2023. So that was a missed opportunity. Last year, we talked about it, right? They smoked the Vikings. They went to Philly. They absorbed all the body blows, the long runs, and everything. And you're 13 yards away. And we would have beaten the Taxkins at SoFi. So, yeah, it would be the ultimate tragedy, capital T, if they lose today in Carolina, because they have the experience. There's no excuse for them to lose today. Mikey Gutierrez, the Rams are averaging 7.8 pass catchers per game. We only had 5 when we played Carolina. Oh, that's a good pull, man. Good pull. Yeah. Everything's set up for us to do it, right? Everything's set up for us to do it. And I just want to see them do it. That's all. Manuel Vasquez. Panthers know they're not supposed to be there, so they'll be playing with nothing to lose, which makes them dangerous. Exactly. Need to put them away early. This is an 8-9 team. That got in because of a 3-way tie. They're playing with house money, so they don't care, right? Almost like Arizona last week with the fake punt and everything. They just don't care. Yes, Rams need to bring it for 4 quarters. Neil Gonzalez is right. All right, Manuel Vasquez, Rams 31-17. I like the Rams 27-10. But is anybody out there believing in a 40 burger? Is anyone out there believing in a 40 burger and a real absolute Indiana kind of beatdown, right? Did I let you guys know? I've always been an Indiana fan. Just throwing that out there. Okay, let's keep on moving along here. Kevin Dotson is out. So is Jordan Whittington. The Panthers have activated their right guard, Robert Hunt. This guy's like Bigfoot. He's so huge. But he hasn't played since week 2, and he's expected to play today. So that's something to keep an eye on. The Rams have advanced Nick Hampton and Tanner Ingle from the practice squad. And the Rams will be facing Austin Corbett, Bobby Brown, Ashawn Robinson, Nick Scott, Christian Roseboom, David Long Jr., if he's activated, and Jameel Muhammad, who was with the Rams practice squad last year. They will all be on this Carolina roster, or at least in the in-house. And their DC is Ezariah Evero, who originally, I think, went with Nate Hackett to Denver. And, of course, that was a disaster in Denver, and he got a job there in Carolina. So there is a lot of Rams flavor here. Corbett, Brown, Robinson, Scott all got rings. I think Roseboom did too. They all got rings when they were with the Rams, as did David Long, even though he didn't do much more than special teams. So yeah, these are the guys that are Rams will be facing that are former Rams. And again, I throw it out there because we're getting closer and closer. As of right now, the Rams have the 13th locked overall. And right now they're at 24. If they lose today, they probably stick at 24 overall. If they win, it could be as low as 32. So hope it's 32. And roughly right now, and this will be gauged because of the playoffs, Rams have the 55th and 86th overall picks in this year's draft. All right. Before we go to the mid-show, let's look at some questions. See what we got here. Boom, 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 boom. All right, let's see. All right, everyone wants to know something here. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, get out of here. Okay. Let's see. Mike Gutierrez. Let's do that one. Mike Gutierrez, where are you at? There we go. A win today would also give us our first road playoff win since we beat Tampa in the Super Bowl season. Interesting. Yeah, good pull. Good pull. Tim Burns. Rams are going to drop a 41 on them. 41, you're going to give 20 to the Panthers? Is that what you said? There you go. 20 to the Panthers. All right. Let me throw this out here one more time. Kistler Law. I want to say thank you to our sponsors. Get the compensation you deserve. Kistler Law, and I can't tell you how grateful we are for their support. And sports ball games. Sports ball is making a move here. They're trying to increase their presence, and they're doing a great job, make the Super Bowl more fun, more social, and wager free. And this is a way to bring your crew together on game day. Right? No stress, no fantasy overload. Right? Try sports ball games, free pick'em and squares, live leaderboards, bragging rights built in. One click and you're in. No fees, no spreadsheets, no headaches. Just sports fun for your whole group to enjoy. Whether you're cheering from the break room or the backyard, Sports Ball Games makes every game day a team event. Play for fun, brag for real. Join sportsballgame.com. All right, not game, just sportsball.com. Yeah, people have asked me, why do you emphasize this? Well, I'm not into the gambling scene. I'm not high-roading all of you guys that do gamble, but I don't. And so it's just, the day job, right? And it's something I was never into. And to tell you the truth, 21 years as a sports writer, all the years doing stuff like this, I've never understood really how to read a line. So, but I do know people that get into, I love trash talk. And basically this is a great vehicle for a lot of trash talk with your friends. So be sure to check out Sports Ball Games, as well as Game Day in the Ram Cave. NFC Championship game, Rams-Packers at SoFi. Literally blow-by-blow action during the course of the game. You guys got to check this book out. I think it's done very well. We appreciate your support. Also, one of the things I am involved in, you might notice it on my pin right here. I'll do this. The pin I always wear, the sun coming in is blocking everything, but there you go. You see it, that glittering in the sun. I'm part of Outsiders Camps, and next week's going to be a little choppy with my broadcasts because I am leaving on Wednesday, and I will be tied up through MLK weekend. Now, I've broadcast from camp, and I likely will again, but I'm just making you guys aware that my schedule could be a little spotty. I'm at winter camp, as you can see there, on January 16th through the 19th, but we're also part of academies where we bring teens to camp, teach them how to be counselors in training, and worship academy where we teach them how to lead worship. And then we got kids summer camp in July, and then of course youth camp at the end of July. And one of our great sponsors for that is Kistler Law. So we'd appreciate your prayers and stuff going forward. I know it's like, Joe, what are you doing? Check on that QR code, join our prayer staff today. I would appreciate it. All right, some other stuff just came in here. USA Expat, Cats 13. Okay, so USA Expat, you're thinking a 40 burger for the Rams? Neil Gonzalez going up to 37. All right, cool. There we go. Okay, let's look at a couple of shots here. The AFC, AFC playoff games today, but this is what you got, Manana. You got Bills and Jaguars. I am leaning Jags. You got Chargers and Patriots, and I am leaning Chargers in this one. I think the bubble will burst for the Patriots. They've had a nice schedule, a soft schedule, and I think Harbaugh and Herbert find a way. And then on Monday night, you got the Texans at the Steelers. I think the Monday Night Football dominance bursts for the Steelers. Excuse me. So we will see how that plays out. Oh, Steeler fans, Rob will be sure to show up and slither his way in if the Steelers win and the Rams lose. And then, of course, we got the Rams today. I took the Rams 27-10. I'm a little bit of caution, but I get it. It should be a blowout. It should be worse than that, and we'll see. We got the Packers at the Bears tonight on Prime. I know some people are upset about that. I happen to have Prime, so I'm cool. But I'm going to lean Packers on this one just because I think the Bears could be ready to be popped as well. I'm not saying they're horrible. I'm just saying they could be ready to be popped. Playoff experience counts, right? And Jordan Love went into Dallas a couple years ago with a team that was not supposed to compete and beat the snot out of the Packers, out of the Cowboys. And then 49ers at Eagles tomorrow afternoon. And, man, I'm rooting for the 49ers. I know you guys are thinking, Joe, you can't root for the 49ers. I can root for the 49ers if I want to come back to SoFi and play, right? If we can get a Packer win and a 49er win, we're playing in SoFi. So that's I'll take that one instead of the snow. And it's where Frisco got us, right? And I want some redemption. I want some revenge. I want some payback. We kicked their butt up in Levi. Let's come back and bring them back and settle business here in SoFi. So, yeah, that's where I'm at on those things. Let's see here. Steeler fan Rob chiming in from Missouri. I'm happy to see all the happy Ram fans out there. I'll check back with everyone around 4:30. Yeah, will you be any place accessible by Monday night when the Texans have put Aaron Rodgers into full retirement, Mr. Sorge? I'd love to ask you about that. All right, Mike McDaniel got canned. That means the Dolphins, Baltimore, the Giants, the Raiders, the Falcons, the Titans, the Cardinals, Cleveland are all open for new head coaching positions. That's 8 spots. That's a quarter of the league. It got canned, and it generally is 8 to 9 every year. The Dolphins have hired a GM, John Eric Sullivan. He comes from the Green Bay organization. And Matt Ryan is now the Falcons' president of operations. He's taking over there. And that's going to be interesting to see because I don't know if everyone coming back is great at this. And we'll see how it works out for the Falcons going forward. Let's look at this again one more time. Well, I'm going to come back to the Rams Panthers, and because I wanted the whole show at the end of the show to be talking about that. Packers at Bears. I think it could be a shootout. The Chicago defense has not looked good. The Packers have their receivers back. Weather's not an issue in these games. And so, yeah, I want to see the Packers win. We want to see the Packers go to Seattle next week, right? And we'll go from there. But I think just the way the Bears closed the season, they didn't close real well. And the Packers got their full complement, their offense back. And I like the Packers. I do in this game. Bills, Jaguars, there's a part of me that really wants the Bills, but I can't see it. I'm going Jaguars. I think the odds are, even though I'm rooting for Frisco, the odds are Philly will embarrass Fog City. Fog City doesn't even have Tatum Bethune. And I think they've run out of baling wire and duct tape with this defense. And I think it all comes down. Let's see. There's teams that have dysfunction that sway everybody. I'm done buying the Philly dysfunction as something that would cause them to lose. I think they thrive on it. Chargers to Patriots, I talked about that. Omari and Hampton is expected to play. So that's a huge deal there. And again, New England has a mediocre pass rush, which means, how fast can Herbert get rid of the ball? How fast can Herbert run? And we've seen it this year. That might be enough to put the Chargers over the top. And Texans Steelers, you're not supposed to. I think I did read Tomlin 17-0 on Monday night. But I just can't believe at this point. Maybe for Steel, I don't really care, because let me just say this. Do I want New England? I think it'd be great if New England came out of the AFC and, again, really put the grand slam on this redemption tour. But I wouldn't mind seeing Pittsburgh come out and getting some payback for Super Bowl 14. I wouldn't mind seeing that happen at all. But we'll take what we can get as long as we're there, right? As long as we are there. All right, let's move back to the top, talk a little more Rams football before we close this thing out. Mike Gutierrez. Mike McDaniel would be a fun OC hire. The thing about Mike McDaniel is he always looks like the kid who's trying to explain why he's home late, right? And in fact, it's gotten worse. There's just, and I don't know how he operates in a locker room. I really don't. You see him, it's like, I better be careful what I say because I'm going to get caught in a lie, right? He always looks like a guilty teenager. And so, yeah, I'm not a big Mike McDaniel guy. Maybe as an OC, maybe, I guess. I don't know. But I'm just not a big Mike McDaniel guy. All right, let's look at this here. The Rams getting ready to wrap up, ramp up their postseason. Let me ask you this. How do you feel about the safeties? How do you feel about the corners? How do you feel about the linebackers? How do you feel about the defense? Because I really think ultimately it's the defense that has to do its job, right? The defense gave up 24 points to the Panthers. Rams, the offense gave up 7, but the last time we played. What do you think needs to happen? Where's your concern? I have a little bit of a concern with those big receivers. Is Ahkello Witherspoon getting his legs back under him enough to where he can compete? Because he got smoked by Mike Wilson last week a couple times. Quentin Lake's supposed to be back. Do you think that's going to be a big difference? So I'd be curious to know. I'm happy to go till about another 10 minutes or so here and hear your guys' thoughts. You guys are listening. You guys are here. So let's keep talking some Ram football. What do we got here? Today is the 10th. On this day, 3 years ago, Liam Cohen resigned as the Rams OC. I think he went back to Kentucky in 23. Remember, he was the Rams OC in 2022. He was with the Rams through 2020, left to Kentucky, missed the Super Bowl, came back, left after the 22 season because it was such a disaster, went back, I think, to Kentucky, and then ended up in Tampa Bay. Yeah, he resigned on this day 3 years ago, and now he's coaching the Jacksonville Jaguars. Born on this day in 2000 was THT. It hasn't even been a full year, but Travius Hodges Tomlinson. Remember the 6th round pick that everyone told us was the steal of the draft out of TCU? He turns 26 today, and I think he's been on IR for the 49ers all season. And then, of course, today is the anniversary of the Rams' loss to the Panthers back in 2004, 29-23. The good news about that is with the game on the line, 30 seconds to play, Rams got a first down inside the Carolina 20 with 30 seconds left. Mike Martz played for the field goal. That's why he's not going to the Super Bowl or going to the Hall of Fame. And I don't think Sean McVay, especially any coach in 2026, would just play for a field goal to tie it. I think they would take their shots to the end zone, especially when you've got Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, Marshall Faulk, right? Oz Hakeem. When you got guys that are off the charts, I think you'd have taken a shot at the end zone, and the Rams didn't that day. So there we go. Let's see. USA Expat. Lake's return elevates our defensive capabilities. I agree. I'll even come out and say that I didn't look at that as big as I should have when he went out. I think I shared it on Wednesday. This guy is more spiritual. Well, he's obviously a great player, but he's a spiritual leader. He's a glue guy, kind of like up until this year Havenstein was on the offensive line. Everything you always felt better if Havenstein was starting, right? Because he was just that guy that held everything together like Whitworth did. And I think Lake is that guy for the defense. And so, yeah, I think that's a huge advantage of having him back. So let's see here. Mikey Gutierrez. Why else would Lake get a contract extension while injured? Our entire secondary plays better when he's healthy. Good point. And again, that's pretty significant. I was going to put a list up there. Let me just see if I can rattle them off. TJ McDonald. Anyone remember TJ McDonald? Didn't get a second contract, right? John Johnson didn't get that second contract. He had to be cut by the Browns before he came back for a cup of coffee with the Rams. Jordan Fuller. Remember, Jordan Fuller passed Terrell Burgess. Burgess was a third-round pick. Jordan Fuller was a sixth-round pick, and he became a contributor. He didn't get a second contract. Rams do not give second contracts to safeties, and Quentin Lake broke the mold. And I think it's because he is a little more versatile. He can play that star position. He can come up and play that slot guy. But what a great move. And again, don't forget, sixth round pick. His rookie year was pretty much a wash. You didn't see him hardly at all in 2022, but he has just been going gangbusters 2023, 2024, and of course this year before he got hurt. So yeah, that is a great signing there for the Rams. And again, that's the good news, that if things don't work out, it's not like they're going to fold their tent and go home, right? This isn't the last dance, so to speak. Maybe for a Stafford, but it's not last dance for this organization and this team. Tony Horn, the unsung hero. I got to put you in contact with Dwayne Barker from Mid Valley Sports, Mr. Burns, because, yeah, he always brings up Tony Horn. Yeah, Tony Horn was – think about this. Tony Horn couldn't get on the field, right? You look at that Rams return group or that Rams receiving group in 1999, and, okay, you got Torrey Holt, you got Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt. You know who the third receiver was? The third receiver wasn't even Ricky Prohl. Ricky Prohl was the fourth receiver. And the third receiver was Zahir Hakeem, the San Diego State guy. I think that's where you went, Mr. Burns. Oz Hakeem was incredible, right? And then Horn would have been fifth. That's why Horn never got any snaps. Prohl just needed to grab up whatever he could, and Prohl was a major contributor. It was just an amazing confluence, right? But that really was like in a bottle there. That thing didn't last, and not as long as it could have. But yeah, I think the loss in Carolina was kind of the death knell. Actually, I think they went back to the playoffs one more time. We actually won in Seattle the next year, or was that in 2003? We won in Seattle and then lost in Atlanta. I think that was in 2003. Anyway, no, that was 2004. Let's see. Boom. Tribe. Lake returning is big, but Akillo being a CB1 again will ultimately be the key. Yeah. His injury was to his clavicle. I'm thinking it's just, you got to get up to game speed. His legs should be fine. His legs should be healthy. We hopefully it all comes together now. And if it does come together now, and you get the Ahkello Witherspoon that played late last year, along with the other corners, then I think we're going to be more than fine. Absolutely. Okay. Payo Time wants 3 tight end touchdowns today. Mr. Burns wants 4 tight end touchdowns today. Does everyone agree with me about Terrence Ferguson? And maybe you weren't with us at the beginning, but Ferguson at 6'5", 255, the guy gets upfield. He's lined up, 172 times in the tight end spot, 175 times in the slot or out wide, going upfield into the pass patterns. We again the rightful fear of some of those bigger Carolina receivers, but if the Rams don't give up stupid plays, right? This is what lends to the blowout thesis here. The idea that Rams don't make the stupid mistakes they made in the last game. That Carolina, they got their big plays on 4th down and 3rd and 8. You limit those. If you get into Carolina can't get in a shootout with the Rams, because I know J.C. Horn is back, but with the Rams receiving core at full swing, all the tight ends playing, and then that hybrid version of Terrence Ferguson alongside Puka and Devontae, that's just brutal. I just don't know if there's anything you can do, right, against that ultimately. Neil Gonzalez, 14 personnel. 14, can you do 14? Yeah, I guess you can with Ferguson, right? And I imagine we'll see all kinds of things if that Justin Dedick situation does develop. And I know you guys are concerned about Justin Dedick. Again, Dedick's total blue-collar guy. I'm not expecting him to be Tom Mack or Joe Schiavelli. I'm not expecting him to be Dennis Hara. I'm not expecting him, to be Kent Hill. I'm not expecting him to be McCollum, Tootin, or Timmerman, right? I'm not expecting to be any of those guys, or even a Roger Saffold, right? But we can get a couple games out of him. He does buy you games. The problem is again, matched. I'm out on Coleman Shelton. I always will be. I think he's good. I think he knows what his job is, and I think the Rams trust him. But, man, when you got to get the push, you're going up against Derek Brown today. You need some muscle there. You're going up possibly against Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter again, right? And if you go up against them next week, will you have Kevin Dotson? And I imagine we would, but I do not want to go against Philadelphia with Coleman Shelton and Justin Dedick as my center and right guard, especially when, and I don't know, maybe it's heresy to say it, guys. Maybe it's heresy to say it. I've been a little underwhelmed with Steve Avila. Is anybody with me on that one? Is anybody? I really have been underwhelmed with Steve Avila. And what can I say? Okay, this is the playoffs basically for the 2025 season. I know it's bled into 2026. 2015 Rams didn't do anything. 2005 Rams, I think that was Rams didn't do anything. And in 1995, we know the Rams didn't do anything. 1985, what did the Rams do? Rams beat the Cowboys, lost to the Bears, and in 75, Rams lost to the Cowboys. That's the game I was at. And 65 was the last year last year of losing before George Allen arrived. In 55, the Rams played in their last NFL title game before the modern era began. That was with Van Brocklin in 55. And, of course, they lost to the Browns, like always. So a lot of stuff happening historically as we get into the playoff season. All right, guys, we're pushing up to the 40-minute mark. Anyone have any other questions? Want to get your final thoughts out? Let's do it. Let's see here. Mike Gutierrez. Avila's had a fine season. I wonder if his ceiling might not be as high as we thought. And I think that's a good way of putting it. I think 2023 was so much promise. 2024 feels kind of lost. I know he got hurt. Maybe I'm wrong. I just wanted to see just a little bit more out of him this year. And we really haven't gotten it, right? You'll see him get beat by some of these quicker DTs. I just need something more. And I would, again, Rams are going to draft a center, and I wouldn't be surprised if they draft a guard. So They should draft a center. Maybe they won't. Brian Smith, thanks for joining with us, Brian. We hung around long enough. We'd get Brian with us. Need takeaways today to win. This was my thinking. If you remember the first Seattle game, Rams didn't get a sack, but they got 4 picks because they were in Sam Darnold's face all day, right? I don't need the sacks as much as I need the harassment. And if you harass, I think you're going to get the takeaways. I really do. If you harass, you're going to get takeaways one way or another. A strip sack, errant throw. This is Bryce Young, by the way. He's not even Brock Purdy. And so, and I know he's a good person, but on the football field, I don't fear Bryce Young. He takes what the defense gives him, and sometimes I think we give him way too much. Mr. Burns, I like Butler's extra base hits going up in 2025. He has to improve his play at the plate. Huh? Help me with this one. Are you talking Oakland A football, baseball on my RamView COD broadcast? What are you doing here, Mr. Burns? Beryl Stouffer, thank you for joining us. Let's see who we got here. Go Rams. All right. Beryl, I don't know if you've been with us before, but thank you so much. And I do hope you can like and subscribe. Not Steve Avila. Tim Burns explaining Avalon needs to be better. There we go. Okay, now I understand. Give me the over on number of times Canales goes for it on 4th down. Carolina has nothing to lose. I think, wow. I think if they are behind at any point, he's going for it on 4th down. I do. Unless, they're inside their own 20. I think obviously they're working off the confidence of week 13, but my belief would be anytime if they're in the lead, they're going to go for it, right? Or I'm sorry. If they're behind, if they're trailing, they're going to go for it because you're right. They got nothing to lose. If they're up, then they do have suddenly something to lose, right? If they're up 10-7 or if they're up 7-0 or if they're up 3-0, now they've got something to hang on to, and that's where they'll become cautious. Burrell Stouffer, I need the defense to step up this time. Absolutely, the defense needs to step up. The defense, and again, we've struggled with this, and I know to me the secondary, the corners haven't been great, and I'm an Emmanuel Forbes guy, and they have not been great. But I also put this again, the lack of pressure on the quarterback, right? Now they got fat last week because they were playing the Cardinals. I mean, even DeJuan Johnson got 2 sacks. Good for him. I'm happy Mr. Irrelevant. But no, you're right. They absolutely need to. Absolutely need to. Gilbert Gonzalez. Rams just cannot have any turnovers. Matthew takes care of the football, and it'll be on to the second round. Yeah, no turnovers. And I'll put it this way too. I'd hate to get the ball on the first series, and it wouldn't be a turnover, but just go 3 and out, right? Because you don't want to give them any confidence, right? You don't want to give them any hope, right? If you come out, you want to come out and you just want to smoke them, right? Want to smoke them from the start. Put it on your defense. Get a 7-0 lead like you did in the last game. Get a 7-0 lead and then just take them down. Let's see. Brian Smith agrees with Gilbert. Yes. In terms of no turnovers. Bill from Philly, we need to figure out how to close out games. Just put your foot on the throttle, right, and just race them out of town. I agree with you. This is the stuff we've been dealing with all year, though, right? Bad first half, good second half, good first half, bad second half, bad 3 quarters against Arizona, good fourth quarter. And again, this is the thing that causes me to have that attitude that, no, of course I don't want the Rams to lose. Everything says the Rams should blow them out, but it makes me hesitant because we haven't seen total, complete football this year. We just haven't. And I mean, I'll even go back to, and I think it was going to happen anyway, division opponent, first game. But let's go back to playing Arizona after losing at Carolina, and then Arizona on the first drive just goes right down the field and scores, right? And I wasn't fearful at that moment, but I would have thought you got totally humiliated in Carolina, come out and do something, right? You got humiliated in Seattle. Atlanta never should have been given a chance in that game, and yet, we gave them life, and they took it. Right? They're down boys. All right, guys. I think we've hit the 45-minute mark, and we're gonna check out here because the Rams are starting in about 4 hours. Looking forward to it. Glad you guys are here, and be sure to check us out. I will be on Monday, no matter what, and I don't think I'm going to get a chance to do a post game today, but maybe tomorrow between games or something. All right, guys. God bless. Take care. Happy to be here. Thanks for your support. Hit like and subscribe.